very different. So, I'll do the reading first, then we'll talk about your last one.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. I was like, what's the best? I was like, if I do it now, it might not make the most sense. So, what's really cool, even though you have a white shirt, you can still see it.
Okay.
So, thinking about that, we have that white orb coming out of your heart underneath. And we use our heart for love and all of its shapes and forms. And that white is in one regard about being open. So, thinking about being able to love with an open heart. And that is a powerful way to have a partnership.
Yes.
Of course, that white is also about connection to higher consciousness, cosmic wisdom, the divine, source, spirit, the goddess, the universe, all of it. So knowing that you're connected to and supported by the things greater than yourself. Another way to think about that too is whatever your practice is, whatever you do to feel connected, your proof is in the pudding. And that's your pudding.
Cool.
It's exciting to see. And
I didn't see it at first, but there is a big glowing white ball on my chest.
There's a glowing white ball right there, yes. And you've got some more color here. It might develop a little bit stronger, so we're going to come back to that at the end. And then we're going to shift over here. This is your expressive energy. This is the energy you put out into the world. And you'll see that you are green and yellow coming through there. And so thinking about green, the color of the child of nature. Nature being these cycles of growth, rebirth, and degree. You're somebody who is very invested in growth for yourself and for others. You really believe in how important these topics are, how important these ideas are. It's funny we just read Natasha 3 because typically that much green, like you have an affinity to nature.
Yeah, I'm not outdoorsy, but I do like to look at it.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it is kind of that like reverence of nature.
Yes.
Which is what I heard you talk about when you were talking about the flowers and the trees. And of course, greens, they tend to be perfectionists. And they can be really determined and ambitious. And those are things that they used to be really handy to us. They can also hold you back. Yeah. And so thinking about what is that balance, which is also another thing about green. It's all about the balance. And so where is this balance between perfectionism tendencies and being able to produce high quality work, but also being able to be free of that structure? Which it sounds like that is something that
definitely something I'm working on.
Yes. Now that yellow that's coming through there, thinking about your communicator, you're a storyteller. Communication is your tool and it is your modality. You really believe in how important stories are and how important creative expression is. Now, yellows tend to operate from joy. And when you operate from joy, that's very generous because it's the more that you have, the more you have to give. Now, the yellow and the green together, thinking about people come to you to talk. People come to you to tell the stories that they need to tell. And the way that you are able to communicate with others is important for them to be able to grow and heal. Which is a special space to be able to hold for others. Now, as we come up here, this being your present energy, where your headspace is, where your thoughts are, predominantly blue. Okay. And then you've got this yellow, you've got this green, you've got some purple, and you've got some white here up there. And so thinking about that blue is the color of the seeker of truth. Present energy invested in what is the truth. Why are you here? What are you here to do? And truth is a weird and strange thing. Because we think that we will just know who we are, and that is a life we can live. It's a little harder than that. It's a lot more complicated than that.
And we live a lot of different lives.
Exactly. And it's all at once. And so thinking about truth expands as our experience, as our understanding of what it means to be a person in this world expands. And so truth is this becoming, it's an unfolding, it's a process. And so thinking about what is this last season of your life allowed you to unfold about who you are and why you're here. What is the truth you're now able to know about yourself? Because you've had enough lived experience for it to make sense. thinking about like, this is a really deep place to be. Blue is a feeling color. It's really being in your feelings.
I hate being in my feelings, but I'm living there now.
Yep. And it's funny how, even when that's something you don't like, life comes at you quick.
Yeah.
And eventually you're gonna be there. Especially like when these big kind of life-altering questions start coming up. Feelings are so important about that. Because right, like feelings are what they show you. And the other thing is like there's truth that lives in your feelings. Right?
Yeah.
So in one sense, thinking about listening to those gut feelings, listening to what your body is telling you via your feelings about these questions and about what feels true for you. And this is a really deep place to be. Like I said, when with a lot of blue like that, blue being the color of the throat chakra, and the throat chakra is like all about truth, right? But it's the blueprint of who we are emotionally. So especially given kind of what you've been telling me, you're reprogramming who you are emotionally. You're using these kind of newfound truths to do that kind of deep work to, reprogram your emotions and like the way you emotionally think to fit your truth, which is a really powerful and deep work to do. So yeah, it's a lot.
That's cool.
And it's true too because it's like about in relationship to these other colors, the green and yellow. And so think about the green, this is gonna be funny the way this is gonna apply. Talking about green being all about growth and healing. So present energy invested in what are the ways you want to grow, what do you have to heal in order to get there. If you planted those deep healing roots, who will grow out of those healed roots? And thinking about like if truth was the seed that you planted, who would grow from the truth? Now, when there's this much blue to that much green, it's about questioning what kind of growth you want. Because as a person, especially as a woman, there are all sorts of ways we are conditioned and we are socialized to think about what kind of growth we're supposed to want, what it means to grow up. And eventually, we get to decide that is in alignment with our truth. And so being in this place where you're not just reprogramming who you are emotionally, but getting in that place where you're deciding what kind of growth allows you to live your truth. What kind of growth is going to empower you if you live as your truest self. And so thinking about, again, this is all about reprogramming those kind of emotional attachments you have around those ideas of growth. But how exciting, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so exciting to think about, on the other end of that, being able to define growth on your own terms. And then, of course, there's this yellow coming through here. We're clearly going to talk about yellow some more. Yellow being that color of storytelling, communication, expression. So, in one sense, thinking about what is the relationship between truth and story. How as you know more about your truth, are you able to tell more of your story? How, as you feel the truth, or do you feel empowered using your voice? How is this kind of deep work really empowering your own creative expression? And how is communication a tool for your truth? In the sense of so communication happens first with the self, second to your higher power, God or deity, and then third to others. And so thinking about how are you communicating all of this work to yourself first, but then how do you communicate this journey to others, which we're going to talk about a little bit more, but it's something that we kind of specifically have been hinting at or are talking about. And then it's exciting to see this purple come through, because purple being all about vision and inspiration, and thinking about what inspires you. What is the inspiration that serves as motivation to ask these big questions and do the deep work. And it's the deeper you go with inspiration, the bigger, the brighter, the bolder you develop your vision. So thinking about present energy invested in what is your vision? What is the vision you have for your one wild and precious life? What is the vision you have for the way you live? And I think this is a really exciting time to have this vision, because it's very important given the journey you're about to embark on. Yeah. And especially thinking about a vision that is so influenced by the truth, and by what is the vision that feels true. And of course, purple being this color of magic. And magic, thinking about present energy invested in ground magic, whatever that means to you. And magic is a big word. You get to decide what works for you within that idea. What I'll give you is that magic is action-specific intentions. And so thinking about what are the intentions you can set that allow you to live your truth? What are the intentions you set that you move you towards your big vision? And then something that I think is really key for where you are is what intentions allow you to get intentional. Which is one of those things that seems very silly to say, but we live so much of our lives on autopilot. We spend so much of our time doing what we think we need to do. But really being in this place about being intentional about what it is you do. In all senses of the word.
I love that magic is in my intention corner because magic is what I chase. I like magical moments and magical places and magical stories, and that's what, instead of collecting things, that's what I want to be collecting. So that's so awesome that that's where it's placed. Yes. And as an almost famous fan, I'm like, your aura's purple, it's really purple, and there needs to be some purple in your aura. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Of course, there is plenty of white up here too, which makes a lot of sense. Because white being wide open, if you're gonna ask big questions, you gotta be open to catch it. Exactly. You have to be open to big answers. And really, thinking about these ideas of growth and healing, to really grow and heal means to eventually be something you've never been before. So being open to who you are becoming. And then of course that white is also about being connected to higher consciousness, the cosmic wisdom, the divine, the universe. It's knowing that when you're in these deep places, you are connected to and supported by the things very awesome.
Just so scared of my green roots section that I'm trying to.
Yes!
Very cool.
It is. And now as we come over here, this is your receptive energy, which you're calling to you. And you're down a yellow. You'll see you have some hints of orange and red surrounding that. And so yellow, calling in those opportunities to express yourself.
Awesome.
It's funny that you were I'm white yellow. And it was
and I got a bunch of it.
So thinking about yellow being all about communication, expression, and storytelling, calling in these opportunities to really build those pathways for your creative expression, calling in those opportunities to read your story, to write your story, to tell your story, to really use your voice. And really calling in these opportunities to use communication as a tool. And communication as a tool towards living your truth, communication as a tool towards your creativity. Now of course with these just kind of dashes of these reds and oranges, thinking about how orange, we talked about it a little bit, but orange is a creative color, and orange is a color of adaptability, of being quick on your feet. And I think that that's really key to the orange in your receptive energy, because it's this idea of where there's a will, there's a way. And calling in these opportunities to kind of be able to shape shift, be able to transmute and transform, and using communication as a tool to be able to do that. And of course, that red that's coming through there, thinking about, red is a color of strength and passion. And thinking about the opportunity to really use your voice, to use that creativity, that creative expression, to chase those things that set your soul on fire. Which is what it sounds like you really want.
I do. do, and I need to learn the skills to let go and accept things to be able to make that happen. So that's incredible.
And that's all practice, right? So it's
You're getting way better at it.
exciting.
This is awesome. I'm shocked. I kind of look like a Tide Pod, but it is really cool.
The other thing, it's light, but do you see the light purple coming off your throat?
I do. I didn't before.
So it's
Because
definitely
it's
there.
developing more.
Yeah, and that's why I think it might develop a little bit more, but it's there. And so thinking about, we use our throat to speak, to tell stories, to share our truths. Purple, that color of vision and inspiration. How do you use your voice to be able to form your vision? Like, how do you speak your vision into reality? How do you use your voice to inspire yourself? And how do you use your voice to inspire others? How is your voice a channel for vision? Which I think that is really exciting, given everything else that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And specifically some of the ideas that you've heard about.
That's amazing. I couldn't have asked for it. You're right. Like, it gives you what you want and what you need. And it's there if you know how to read it, which is something I'm trying to learn. Like, the signs have all been there. I just didn't want to see them, or I wasn't willing to follow them.
And this, you can only do as much as you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you probably did the best as you were able to at that time.
Mm-hmm.
To follow the sonnets or to acknowledge whatever it is. But it's all about building capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And, we all want to go from 0 to 100. Like, when we decide we want to change, we want to do good.
Right.
But typically, these are things we've been building towards for years.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who's doing what I did. She did it a couple years ago, and I've always been like, I want that, but I can't make those kinds of changes. That's crazy. And then the changes happened anyway, and I was like, bye.
See? The universe being like,
Yeah. You
You're
can
not
put it out there, even if you're not ready.
Yeah.
It's still gonna come back.
You're not kidding.
So that was November 19th,
Yes.
and I was feeling pretty stuck.
Yes. So you have all that red, and you do have that magenta, and you have that orange that looks like it is probably purple and blue. So thinking about all that red, it's interesting. So red like that is about change in beginnings. And so it's fascinating to think about it now. You're probably planting a lot more seeds for what you're doing now than you realized.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about those things like stuff. Red, the root chakra, is all about our relationship to security, to safety. And so hearing what you were just saying about being like, I couldn't do that. So being in that place where you're questioning all sorts of those ideas about what kind of safety you need. What makes you feel safe? And then eventually with the idea about change is that eventually you have to change. And so it's being in a place where when did you decide that juices with the sweets? So looking at that magenta, that purple, and that blue, you have this big vision and you have those big dreams, but we're really coming from your heart, coming from your truth, coming from these ideas of magic, but just maybe didn't quite know yet or weren't quite ready to be able to live like this. And especially so, red and receptive energy is also about manifesting energy. And it's where intention goes, energy flows. Where energy flows, that's where portals.
Oh, I love that.
It's a key thing.
Yeah.
And so thinking about what you probably didn't realize at that time, but dreaming big dreams, that's what you're manifesting where you are now. Right?
Yeah.
Which is so exciting to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there were so many dreams I couldn't figure out which ones to chase, and there was too much stuff tying me down to explore them.
Yeah, for sure. It's there's a Sylvia Plath quote where she talks about being underneath the pear tree of opportunity, and each pear was a different life she could live, and she could see how juicy and how bright each opportunity was, but she was so paralyzed by choices that instead of choosing any of them, she watched them all fall to the ground and rot.
I 100% need to read that Sylvia Plath book.
It is, I think if you just search like Sylvia Plath, hair quote, it should pop up.
Alright. I mean, I read The Bell Jar like everyone else did, but I don't think I read anything else.
I don't remember if it's in the Bell Jar or if it's in a collection of poems.
Okay.
Again, like, it's been a minute since I read Sylvia Plath, but that quote has always really stuck with me. Because that's how it feels.
I think that's us as humanity. Like, there's so many options out there, and if you find one that you're comfortable with, you're afraid to try something new.
Well, and especially, like, as here we are, you know, really, even our parents didn't have nearly as much opportunity as we did.
And the options, like the jobs that we're doing now weren't options when our parents were trying to decide what to do.